Hey guys, so with the first presidential election debate just 2 nights behind us now, I think that we have gotten some data out of many states and just the betting odds that show that Biden has seen a little bit of a surge after this debate. Taking a look at the betting odds on Real Clear Politics, which basically just averages out all of the different betting odds sites. As you can see here, Joe Biden 59.8 cents to Donald Trump with 40.8 cents per share. As you can see down here, Joe Biden, his share went all the way up from 54.5 all the way up to 59.8. So he basically has a 60% chance of winning this election to President Trump with a 41% chance. And this is basically Joe Biden's peak period, basically with the exception of the couple of days or a couple of weeks that he spent at the top here in the month of July. And although betting odds is not a clear reflection of the polls can influence it, but if you take a look at the actual polls from 2016, you will see that Joe Biden was leading this entire election cycle. There was never a moment where President Trump was leading, just ever in this entire election. However, if you take a look at the betting odds, Donald Trump was ahead for quite a while. He was ahead, basically until the 1st of June. Literally until the 1st of June, Joe Biden never led in the betting odds, except for that one odd moment there after Super Tuesday, not after Super Tuesday, after the last and final Democratic debate between Biden and Sanders. But after, Joe Biden basically went all the way up to basically around 61%. Of course, compared to Clinton's numbers in 2016, she did much better just because people really did not expect Trump to have a victory. Nobody did. You can, from the reports that came out from the New York Times and all of that, President Trump did not even expect to win the election. He only joined, came into it so that he could better his financial situation. As we now know that President Trump is $400 million in debt, and he's refusing to say who that is all owed to. But looking at this data here, President Trump's chances of winning the election have dropped drastically. Now, looking at the polling numbers, I don't think that Biden is going to see too much of a surge. He might go from 6.6 to 7-8% in the lead, maybe even 9%, but I don't think it's going to cross that 10% mark for him again this entire election. Now, this is just because I think that Biden was able to, have an inclusive message, I guess. But President Trump, I think he was really alienating basically everyone that did not support him. I think that if you're a Trump supporter, you probably would have enjoyed his performance. He was being very dominant on the stage over Joe Biden. And I think that if you support President Trump, I think you would have thought that was a very good night for him. But I think that if you're undecided or if you're a Democrat, I think you most likely would have said that Joe Biden won that debate. Now, Joe Biden didn't, like I said before, he didn't do anything special. He didn't have any great moments or anything like that. But he just seemed much more professional, much more presidential. And I think that those swing voters are going to, swing to his side just after this debate, just based on this debate. I think Biden was able to win over more voters. I think Trump just alienated more and more voters. And then, of course, with President Trump refusing to denounce white supremacists, I think that was honestly the worst part of the debate for President Trump, ignoring just all of the interruptions that he made, over basically everyone there. But for President Trump, him not denouncing white supremacists, I think that, we all know that a large part of his base is white supremacists, and that's just a fact. But I think that with, him refusing to do that, he said stand down or stand by or something like that. So I don't think it really helped him. It's not going to help him with voters who, swing a little bit more to the left. But I think that with his base, he definitely did strengthen his base, I guess, for those who do believe in white supremacy. But I think that, that honestly just ruined the debate for people who might have considered voting for him. And, I think now because of that, I don't think they're necessarily going to. But I think that Joe Biden, he didn't say anything too bad. He was more inclusive, and I think that he definitely will be able to win some support from this. But in terms of polling data, I don't see a huge surge for him like he saw after the Black Lives Matter protest started. And so, yeah, but the reason why his betting odds went up was because Donald Trump really had nothing to lose from this debate. He did bad in all of the debates in 2016. He still won the election. But this time around, he's the incumbent. I think it's more important that he had a good debate performance, especially considering all the problems in our country right now during his presidency. And the reason why Joe Biden's numbers went up so much is just that people did not expect such a, strong performance from him in terms of, he never really stuttered that much. He never lost his train of thought, and he was able to form complete sentences, and he didn't get flustered by Trump. my biggest fear for him was that President Trump was going to make him very angry, and Joe Biden, is known for getting upset sometimes and saying stuff that he's going to regret, and that did not occur last night. And you can see Trump was so desperate for Joe Biden to say something that would hurt his campaign, but that just never came out, and I think that was basically the loss for President Trump. He spent the whole time trying to provoke Joe Biden, but it did not work. And so Joe Biden, he is now currently expected to win the election, 60% chance. The reason why it went up is just people are less worried about him having a horrible debate performance, because I think that if Trump did very well in this debate, I think he definitely could have even crossed Joe Biden in the betting odds. I think he could have taken the lead for the first time in months if President Trump had a good debate performance, but he didn't, and he's not going to win over any voters from this. So that's why Joe Biden's numbers have surged quite a bit. And so some other states I want to take a look at that did see a bit of an increase for Joe Biden. I think that's pretty interesting that Joe Biden is now leading in some of the strongest red states from 2016, not the strongest states, but states that went to the president by some pretty convincing margins 4 years ago that, I don't think anyone really expected to be so close this time around. So I'm just going to fill in this electoral map first here. But I want to just take a look at some of that new data that came out, because I really think it's pretty surprising that Joe Biden is just doing so well in so many of these states recently. He's really seen a little bit more of a surge, and I think that the comments that President Trump made last night, I don't think they're going to help him at all. I can only see President Trump's numbers going down from this. So first, state of Georgia. Currently, Donald Trump is now only up 0.1% here in the state of Georgia. I think this is absolutely devastating for the Trump campaign. As you can see here, Biden leads by 3 points in the two newest polls. Trump led by 1 in a YouGov poll, and then 3 other polls, they are both tied in all of 3 of them. This is a state that Trump won by over 5% in 2016 over Hillary Clinton. And this state, the margins for the GOP in this state have been decreasing more and more after each election. Mitt Romney won it by a little bit more. Don McCain, I think, won it by a smaller margin, but Bush won it by pretty convincing, solid margins here in the state of Georgia. And demographics in Georgia are shifting more and more to the left as you see more African Americans and just people of color moving in, and less Caucasians and white people. They tend to be moving out of the state. In the Atlanta region, a lot of people of color there. And I think that the Democrats do seem to hit a ceiling in this state, which is basically around 49%. That's why Stacey Abrams was not able to win her race here. The Democrats do always seem to have hit a ceiling in this state. They never seem to be able to do better than 49%. They've never really been able to hit that 50% mark either, which is why I think that Joe Biden is still going to lose his state. But, this is just a sign that Joe Biden is going to win other states. I think that if he's down 0.1% in the state of Georgia, just consider how well he would be doing in the state of Michigan. So, very alarming news for the president. Some other states, Iowa. Joe Biden now leads in the state of Iowa. This is the first time President Trump has ever been down in the state of Iowa since basically for that 1 to 2 days in June. And Joe Biden now leads by 0.4% in the state of Iowa. This state went to Trump literally by 9%, over 9% margin in favor of the president in 2016. Now he can't even lead in a state that he led or that he won by over 9%. So Biden leads by 2 points in this new latest poll, which is why he's now up in the state of Iowa. I think that this is a great sign for the Biden campaign. Really does show that Joe Biden's numbers are increasing nationwide, and this was of course taken before the debate. So I think that even after the debate, I think his numbers are only going to go up. I do not see that President Trump's numbers are going to go up in any state, except for like Wyoming, I guess. Which is not intact, just based on, I guess, demographics. So I really don't see that President Trump is going to increase in any state. I think that in basically every single state, you're going to see a significant decrease in support for the president. I don't think it's going to be that great, but I think that you'll definitely be able to see it and spot it if you just take a look at the graphs for these polling averages just a couple days later. And of course, we're going to take a look at that, just seeing how the debate is really going to affect this election. And then lastly, the state of Ohio. I also want to take a look at this state as well. Joe Biden leads by 1.2%. 1.2% in a state that Trump won by 8% in 2016. He won this state by a larger margin than Texas 4 years ago. Now, these 3 polls, don't take it seriously. This is SurveyMonkey, the minus rated pollster by 538. These are from July and August. This was from September 1st all the way to the 25th. And honestly, don't take these polls seriously. This is an online pollster. But Fox News, A minus rated pollsters show Biden up 5 and 5. Quinnipiac University shows Biden up 1, which is why he now leads by 1.2% in the state of Ohio. This is even worse than Georgia. President Trump is just absolutely tanking in this state. I think that this is much worse than anyone expected for the presidency, because Joe Biden has led in pretty significant amounts of this campaign. I believe he's led for a longer amount of time in Georgia than President Trump has. In a state that he won by over 8%, that is literally a likely state and is now a tilt state in favor of the former vice president. So if this is the numbers that Trump is seeing in states like Ohio, Iowa, Georgia, I really don't see him winning the election, because he lives by he's down 1.2% in Ohio. How is he going to win a state like Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin, which are polling much better for Joe Biden? So unless the polls are even more wrong than they were in 2016, Donald Trump is not winning this election. After that debate performance, it's definitely not going to help him. I think that in the next debate, he definitely needs to be more calm, and just instead of making those personal attacks on Joe Biden, he should make more attacks on Joe Biden's policies and his plans and stuff, because I know that Donald Trump does not agree with Joe Biden, and a lot of people don't. But after seeing that type of just performance from President Trump, that type of attitude that he has for everyone else on the stage, I don't think that was able to help him. And then also we have a poll out of South Carolina. President Trump leads by 1 point in South Carolina. Now, for context, this is a state that Trump won by over 14%. This was less than 1% from being a solid state for the president 4 years ago. And now, well, he leads by 6.9% on average, 6.5%. The latest poll, Trump up 1 point in South Carolina. This is a state that hasn't gone to a Democrat in decades. And numbers here have never been as good for President Trump as they were in 2016. He was never able to have that kind of lead that he saw, not even in February. And this was when his numbers were basically the highest. So this is pretty alarming for the Trump campaign. I will, take a look at some other polls. I think there's going to be more polling data down out of the state of South Carolina, just because of this, pretty surprising poll shows Joe Biden only down 1% to President Trump in the state of South Carolina. Now, I think that if Joe Biden leads in South Carolina ever, basically just less than 1 month until the election, I don't think that President Trump is going to win the election. I think that if Trump lets Joe Biden lead in this state, I think he's absolutely done for. Because South Carolina, this is one of the most conservative states. And, I put it in my likely column for the president in basically all my predictions as it was in 2016. So this is pretty surprising to take a look at. Now, one state that I will say that President Trump is doing a little bit better in is the state of North Carolina. I think that Joe Biden's numbers are dipping there as of right now, but really not too worried from there in North Carolina. I don't think, it's really not that important for Joe Biden. But states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania all staying strong for the former vice president. He can now add the states of Ohio and Iowa into his column as well. He is also leading in Florida by a lead margin now. He leads in Arizona with a lead margin as well. So now he's up at 339 electoral votes. He also leads in North Carolina by a tilt margin. And then he's now down 0.1% in Georgia. So Trump plus 0.1 in a state he won by over 5% in 2016. And then Trump plus 2% in Texas. So Biden's now up at 354 electoral votes. I'm going to take a closer look at these polls later today. He also has DC. I apologize for that. And then 2nd District of Maine. He also has that in the bag right now for Joe Biden. And the 2nd District of Maine, even stronger for the former vice president. So this is just a very good, all across the board. And I think with this debate, I think we're going to see major improvements for the former vice president in the next coming days, and I'll keep all you guys all updated on that. And also, according to my poll that I made 2 days ago, as you can see here, Donald Trump is now, only 6% think that President Trump is going to win, or I'm sorry about that. Only 6% of respondents thought that President Trump won the first debate. 94% for Joe Biden with 2.6 thousand votes. So not good for President Trump. I think that definitely was a bad performance from last night. And I think that we're going to see the effects of this in the next coming days, with just Joe Biden surging even more than he has been already. And that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below, as well as subscribing to my channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and as well as your video thoughts, or not video thoughts, video suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future. I don't know why I can't talk today, but yeah, I will see all you guys in the next video.